People that brought us Project 2025 have come out with some new shit. And that new thing is a report called Saving America by Saving the Family, a foundation for the next 250 years. And it is terrifying. Kim is going to put up a thread that breaks it down because if you go to the Heritage Foundation website, it is an over a 1 hour read. It is a lot. It is very meaty. So we're not going to go through all of this because it's a lot, but they basically want to protect the sanctity of the American family in a very traditional way. And traditional in their minds is going back 50, 100 years of progress for women. And as this person states, needs sunblock on threads. This is a 150-page, densely worded report. So, the economic coercion problem. They want to make marriage economically mandatory for lower income women. And they're going to do so by eliminating welfare for non married parents. They say the welfare system has made marriage economically irrational for many low income couples. Nearly all of the cash, food, and housing programs focus on subsidizing non married single parent families. So the solution is to flip it so single parenthood is economically irrational instead. And what this means for women? Poor women are pressured to marry or stay married to avoid poverty. Shotgun marriages for economic survival, not love. Trapped in bad, abusive marriages because leaving equals losing 17K a year in welfare cuts. They acknowledge that this worked in Hungary. And of course, Hungary is currently ruled over by Viktor Orban, who is a dictator. Their marriage rates doubled partially through shotgun weddings for the baby loan benefits. So, want to pause there and talk about that. They are basically demonizing single parenthood. There's a lot of reasons why people become single parents. There's a lot of reasons why women are the single parent.
So what happens if you're inadvertently a single parent, like you lose your spouse to an accident or they become injured? What are you supposed to do then?
Sorry.
See,
Not a
Yeah, we'll be
person.
looking at arranged marriages. And someone who my first marriage was abusive, I will say, yeah, I got out of it for a damn good reason. And I
and I
could
know
not
women who couldn't
imagine
get out of it. They
being forced,
stayed.
yeah, to
They
stay
do
in
not
that.
care. They
It's
do
a
not
hand
care
well, it's a
about your
version of that.
circumstances
No, no. They think husbands have a right to
If you
abuse
got
their wives.
14 kids with somebody, you got to stay together. You're supposed to, and you're supposed to anyway.
because they see it as a moral failing
Well, they
that
some
they're
fake Christians anyway, and they trying to make it seem like it's biblical. But all this is some kind of handmaid's tale type business. Stay in there, you gotta be a trad wife and all this kind of stuff. I just it's so antiquated.
It's a
And
male ego designed policy, ideology, whatever it is. It's all about the male ego. They don't like the fact that women are smart. They don't like the fact that women can go out and work and support themselves and be independent and do it all.
Yeah.
that's why there's a backlash right now with Erica Kirk saying she was gonna take over a turning point just like that. She is that's the antithesis of what they teach. So once again, hypocrisy.
Yeah. It's just like every other system that's been propped up to make mediocre white men feel superior.
Mhm.
go to number 2, forced choice, career versus motherhood. The home child care equalization credit is designed to keep mothers home. So you get 2,000 a year bonus for married parents who don't use daycare, but only if you're married and only if one parent stays home with kids under 5. The explicit reasoning: most of these parents and potential parents would prefer to spend more time raising their kids at home if they could afford it, but the federal government largely provides support only for parents who pay others to help take care of their children. The problem: this is $2,000 a year. $167 a month. Average childcare cost 12,000
Bingo.
a year. So the choice is stay home and get 2K or work and pay 12K for childcare, net
Who
10K.
wrote this? Who wrote
This
this?
the Heritage Foundation, the people who wrote Project 2025.
Project Management.
Oh,
So for a woman earning 40K a year, after childcare, she makes 28K. After taxes, commute, work expenses, maybe 22K. Is working worth 22K? Many will say no. So the implicit message is we want mothers specifically home with children and will structure incentives to make working financially irrational. Number 3, the marry young or face financial penalties trap. The Nest accounts punish women who marry after 30. So, how Nest works: you get $2,500 at birth. It grows to 38K by age 30. If you marry by age 30, it's a tax-free withdrawal. If you marry after 30 or stay single, you're fully taxed. The explicit goal: Congress should expand the Trump accounts by creating separate newlywed early starter trust accounts that support men and women who marry by or before the current average age of first marriage, about age 30. If you could scroll a little bit more. What this does to women. The average age of first marriage for women is 28.6 years. Professional slash grad school paths often mean marriage at 30 to 35. Med school, law school, PhD, you're penalized with a 20% tax hit on your Nest account.
I'm with Martin.
Message is marriage in your 20s is correct, marriage in your 30s is wrong. We can pause it there if you guys
Okay.
would. Yeah.
They
Um,
don't they
so
don't want women to be educated. They want them to be barefoot and pregnant in the kitchen and slaving 24/7 for an abusive man
Uh-huh.
and possibly his mother who will come and live with them and cycle in to that with them.
And who buying the groceries?
And the women I know make more than 40,000 a year.
Yeah, me too.
The average. Well, anyway, we're not even gonna get into that. These
so
heritage people, when as I'm reading more about them, I told people it's disgusting. It's some kind of something from a nightmare or something like we're like if men could rule the world and have everything they wanted to, it's this. And there's women participating in it almost like they don't realize that they're going to be affected by this.
Kind of like the Stepford Wives.
Yes,
Yeah.
the original, not that
Your
Oh
wife
funny
god,
stuff.
yeah,
is
Yeah.
the original. I'm not surprised that Hungary comes up in this, that Orban comes up with this. But the other
Mhm.
country that reminds me of this is Iran.
mm,
Iran wasn't always the Iran of today,
hmm,
if you look back,
Right.
right?
Yeah,
So,
This is what happened in Iran.
yeah.
Exactly. So this
they
is
got
some scary shit.
so they say they like women to shut up, huh? Shut up and open up.
Oh,
I'm gonna have a drink of tea
It took
while
a minute to bounce off my cerebellum, and it went on to the back, came on back up to the frontal lobe.
It's a long thread, so I'm not gonna go through the whole thing, but I do wanna go to number 7. I'm hitting the
I
highlights and
like it.
just the lowlights.
numbers.
Okay. The divorce trap. Losing fam credits if marriage ends. The rule. If parents divorce before the end of any of the 4 tax years. So there's a previous post that talks about the benefits you get for staying married. They would not be eligible to claim the full FAM credit for that child in that or any subsequent tax year. So here's a scenario. A woman marries at 26, has baby 27. She should be entitled to 17,670 over 4 years. Husband becomes abusive at year 2. If she divorces, she loses $8,836 in remaining credits. So the calculation: stay in abusive marriage, keep $8,836 plus avoid welfare cuts. If you leave, you lose the credits, you face welfare work requirements, and it's harder to afford childcare. This is classic economic coercion. There's also a biological parent requirement that excludes modern families. So this FAM credit is only for biological married parents. So 4,418 refundable tax credit for married joint filers who have a child, and where both the tax filing adults claiming the credit are the biological parents of the child in question. Who is excluded? Stepmothers raising stepchildren, adoptive mothers. They get an adoption credit, but it's different structure. Women who use egg donors, women who use surrogates, foster mothers, lesbian couples, even if legally married. So the message is only natural biological families
Oh,
are the support structure. So this now also is targeting people in same-sex relationships and people who cannot get pregnant biologically.
I was just gonna say, what if I have a barren womb?
They'll kill you. And some countries do that.
You know, I
You're worthless. Uh-huh.
I
That's what
know it.
they think.
I'm worthless.
That's what they think.
Do
I
they
am worthless.
just sit around a frickin' conference table and think up these horrible things?
They
I
must be
think they sent
high.
them a text
What
message. I think they already had it on mine. They was like, "Oh yeah,"
is
and
this?
then make them do this.
They've been
Where
working on this for years.
I told you they
Oh
was
my
Years.
god.
And then, like JD Vance was saying, if you're married, your vote count more. Is he crazy? And what if you already raised your kids? Is this, can you get grandfathered in? I mean,
Well, we're not gonna whoever if this comes to fruition, women aren't gonna have the right to vote. They're gonna take that away too.
Of course.
I mean,
now we got to be suffragettes again.
Jesus Christ.
So on that note, what scares me is on the face of it, the way they couch some of these things, I think there will be some young women who think, "Oh, this sounds good. If I get married before 30, I'll get this kind of money. If I have a child before this age, I'll get this kind of money. If I stay married, I'll get more money." Not thinking just how 50 years ago women couldn't even get credit without a male cosigner,
yeah.
couldn't buy homes without a male cosigner, and 100 years ago couldn't vote. And for some of us, it was even closer than that because people don't because education is not where it should be. People don't know their history. And so I'm afraid that there are some people who'd be easily swayed by this because people are really good at making it seem like it's a good idea.
And people are lazy. And you talking about money, you know, they whores for money. I hate to say it. I told you the other day, do something funny for some change, and I'll leave it at that because I said a bunch of bad words. But it's just, it's 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 scary, and I do believe that people will latch on to it, thinking it's some kind of good idea, and it's cultish. I trap you.
Yeah.
I'm going to isolate you as an abusive relationship on top of it. And then I'm going to make it hard for you to leave because it's going to cause you definite hardship. I grew up in something like that. And they want to hurt you so you don't leave. And so when you do, you end up alone and destitute, hopefully, according to them. And then
And
you
then
want to
they
run
throw
back.
you in prison for killing your husband.
Yeah.
Well, and the other thing that they might say is, I own you. So if you leave me within 2 years, you're going to be destitute. You need to stay with me. I own you.
I'll kill him.
Well, and the other thing is, key we talked about it Wednesday, they're scared to death of of matriarchy.
Mhm.
Scared to death of a matriarchy.
I want to point out there's also a racial component to this. I mentioned that some of this penalizes women in same sex couples, but there's also the fact that uh, black couples, so black male, black female couples, tend to get married at lower rates than white couples. And that doesn't mean that the father or like both parents aren't involved in their child's lives, but they're not married. So that if this group doesn't get married at the rates that they insist, then they lose out on that money. There's also the fact that sometimes the parents aren't married or they're separated because the father is in prison. Why are they in prison? Is it for reasons that they actually belong there? Or have they been penalized by a society that likes to wrongfully imprison Black men and brown men at a higher rate than any other demographic? So again, Black women are just kind of SOL.
Well,
So I'm glad they all are rightly horrified by this. I highly recommend either reading the rest of that thread or going to the Heritage Foundation website and reading this long ass doctrine because it's scary and we can't let it come to fruition.
Yeah. 100%. Thanks for bringing it up.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to look
This is
into
They just
scary.
got to buy some
This is
poison.
scary.
it. Do you have heavy metals? Well, thymine.
Here's a run on arsenic.
Okay, you're like, man, I don't know what's wrong with my
What's
stomach.
the thing that tastes like Gatorade or looks like Gatorade? What
Red
is it?
Bull.
Oh, yeah, such I'm not antifreeze.
Antifreeze? Yeah.
Oh, antifreeze.
Antifreeze.
Yeah.
Antifreeze.
Does arsenic have a shelf life?
Uh,
I don't think so.